Imagine you're in a room full of hundreds of people. Many of them are older men who are screaming so loudly you can barely hear yourself think. That might not sound like fun to you, but for me, it describes one of the most exciting nights I've ever experienced. In October of 2024, I went to my very first concert. Going to a concert is a terrifying and exhilarating experience, and I think that everybody should go to at least one in their life. My sister and I are both pretty big nu metal fans. Though she's been listening to the music longer than I have, and she's gone to a couple concerts, when she asked me if I wanted to go to a Korn concert with her, of course I said yes, though I knew there were so many things that could go wrong. One thing I was worried about was people thinking that I was a poser. So for a month straight, I listened to only Korn to make sure I knew what I was talking about. Another thing that worried me was how much my mother was worried. She would not stop talking about how dangerous it would be, since we live in South Dakota and you never know what the weather's going to be like in October. I'd also have to be driving 2.5 hours to my sister's apartment by myself, which is not something I'm used to. But thankfully, I made it to her apartment safely, and she drove the rest of the way to Omaha, and that part was much more enjoyable because we were together and we sang along to Korn the entire time. Once we got to the city, though, the panic set in. From the stressful traffic and the construction we were surrounded by, and we also saw a couple homeless people, which from our small town of 3,000 wasn't something we're used to seeing. And I realized that we were just two young girls in a huge city without any street smarts. We struggled to find a parking spot and how to use a parking meter, but eventually we made it to the concert. The first thing we did when we got inside the building was get in line at the merch stand, where I bought my very first piece of merch with the tour on the back. My sister got the exact same one as me so that we would always remember our shared experience. While we were waiting in the line and when we got to our seats, we met some really cool people who shared some awesome stories, and they introduced us to some new bands. Being in that huge room with so many people was such an amazing feeling, and knowing that we were all watching the same incredible performance and we were all feeling the same thing was something I'll never forget. Leaving the concert was complete chaos, though. I did not realize how loud it would be at a concert, and I was practically deaf the rest of the night. I had gone hoarse from the amount of screaming I was doing, and leaving the parking lot was a nightmare. There were people coming from every side, and we were terrified we were either going to get hit or hit somebody else. And after 30 minutes, we safely made it out. Going to that concert helped bring me out of my shell, and it made me realize that you have more fun when you aren't worrying. And I'm so thankful that I was able to experience that with my sister, and it's a memory I'll never forget. And every time I wear this shirt, I will think of it.